It's the book of Second Ezra, chapter 9, beginning at verse 1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. I'm going to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to Kol Elohim La Yahweh, Ba Hashem Yahushai, Ba Hashem Arachak, double honors to the apostles and to the elders, a great millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and Yakim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you, I say Shalom. This is the brother Yahweh Sap out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And basically, I wanted to do a quick lesson on this article I seen. I forgot what it was on RT. And basically, it's in regards to, this current system that we're in. The system basically is, foundation is set on this fiat currency, which is known as the United States dollar, the petrodollar, or the world reserve currency, which a lot of nations are trying to bypass right now. Basically, this guy, Robert Kiyosaki, that's his name, Kiyosaki. Which if you're not familiar with him, he's the guy that wrote the series of books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Basically, so he's considered like a financial expert or economist. He economist, but financial expert. He basically made this statement. And, when you go into these different titles, that's, like, for instance, Brothers That's in the Truth. When you read the book of Hebrews, talking about our profession. Our profession is like really delving into these scriptures. We have, like Esau has committed a diligent search as regards to, his so-called sciences, pseudoscience, actually. That's what the Book of Timothy calls it, science falsely called, roughly paraphrased. In actuality, is witchcraft, is his sorcery. That's why you got people that's trusted in, this man's science more than they're trusting in the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. But not to be all over the place, when I seen the headline, I knew I was gonna do a video on this, and a couple scriptures came to mind. So, Lord willing, this is edifying. Before I get started, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Kol Elohim, La Yahweh, Ba Hashem Yahushai, Ba Hashem Arachak, double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is an edifying lesson. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad and the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you, I say Shalom. Brother Yahweh Sap out of GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And basically, that's the spirit that this picture depicts, like a sea full of money. And when you understand anything about a fiat currency, basically they're not really backed by anything. At one point in time, our currency was backed by actual silver and gold, and was backed by actual silver. That's why bills prior to, I forgot what president was in office. I think it was Nixon, or it's FDR. Or it's either Roosevelt. I think it might have been Roosevelt though. FDR, Franklin Delano, whatever the fuck his name is. Franklin Roosevelt though. I think it's Roosevelt too, because whatever president basically took us off the gold standard, when they came back with the new dollar bill, it had all those Masonic symbols on it. That's why you got all those different Masonic. And I think Roosevelt was the one behind it. Because when you go into, they say how all the presidents are related. They are related to a degree by blood, but they all are Masons. So that's how they are related, because they consider themselves brothers. And it's spiritual, because showing you how the Most High God is completely balanced. Those people, those wicked devilish demons on the left hand side in these different lounges and sects and these different these organizations and brotherhoods. They consider themselves brothers, and the brothers that's doing the truth, preaching the truth, bringing out the truth, we consider ourselves brothers because the scriptures tell you, like basically, this is a brotherhood. This is one body, the believers in Yahweh Shai Mashiach. So it says, famed writer and economist Robert Kiyosaki has warned that the actions of governments, because it wasn't just American government that literally had people printing money. I think the Canadian government, or I can't remember what government it was, but basically they gave out way more stimulus money than America did. That's why a lot of people looked at America like, well, what the fuck? This is supposed to be the land of milk and honey. You only gave out, when you take the time to think about what they gave out as far as stimulus, that was like what you would give a woman with one child on welfare, just getting welfare for one time. So, that's really wasn't any money when you take the time to really sit and dwell on it. You got 1,200, then you got 600, then you got 1,400. So actually you got about maybe like $4,000. That's not any really money for real. Like you could blow $4,000 going to go buy some shit. People do that every day when tax season comes. It says could lead to currency salakia, such as spending 16% of. Bear with me for a second. It says, such as spending 16% of global GDP on the COVID pandemic and massive money printing could lead to a crash so big that even the global reserve currency, the US dollar, becomes worthless. Which, that's the whole point of this. This was a whole elaborate scheme of the elite to bring in a whole totally different currency. It's not a coincidence that the American dollar is the world reserve currency. If you're not familiar with what that means, the world reserve currency is the petrodollar. So petroleum or gasoline basically is moved by using the American dollar. You can be a Russian and basically you want to buy gas from China. But in order to do that, no, say for instance, Saudi Arabia, you want to buy gas from Saudi Arabia. In order to do that, you have to convert your ruble or whatever the currency that Russia uses into actually American money to actually purchase that. And then basically after all that, they exchange their money back into their currency, which was ingenious. You get what I'm saying? And it goes all the way back to when America basically was dealing with the Saudi nation or whatever. I forgot if it was Saudi Arabia or who exactly it was, but basically they did an arms deal. America supplied all kind of weapons, and they basically said that they wanted basically any kind of oil to be. It basically, I think it was when the Saudis had the biggest oil reserves. They said in order, they wanted weapons and arms, and they said in order we want basically any gasoline or any petroleum to be moved, we want it moved by using the American dollar. So basically, by having to use our currency, we can make money off of you actually. Because if that's just like a bank, a bank makes money off your money, although you thinking they safeguarding your money, they actually using your money, flipping it. It says in the latest episode of Live from the Vault, the businessman explained that when the house of cards starts coming down during unprecedented economic times, which you're beginning to see right now, you got more people like going hungry than before. They just not reporting it. That's one thing about American media. That's why you shouldn't even watch American news. You'll be better off going to alternative news on YouTube than to watch American news because, American news filters what's going on in the country. That's why you don't hear about every homicide that happens in the hood. You don't hear about it. Because first of all, somebody got to report it. Second of all, they just not reporting everything. I watch RT News, Russian Times News, and they report more stuff that's going on in America than literally American news do. It says, and we are in economic times. That's why you got a crime going up. You got a lot of cities because they defunded these police that they got murders on the upright at an all-time high. It's a lot of shit. Carjackings up in Cleveland. You know what I mean? And Cleveland ain't even really a city known for carjacking. But yeah, now you got people just carjacking motherfuckers. I mean, yeah, people used to steal cars, auto theft. That's totally carjacking is some shit that happened in L.A. and shit like that. Even New York and shit like that. Jersey, but not no like Cleveland type thing. But again, crime is going up, and the scriptures talk about that in the book of Second Ezra chapter 5. It says, there's a need to reconsider how people store their wealth. The big problem with fiat money is that it's largely based on public faith in the issuer, he said. That's the spirit, because that's the point of fiat money. It doesn't really have anything backing it. Basically what makes fiat money worth something is people put their trust in it. And that's how money is really like it's a talisman. That's why it got all the Masonic symbols on it. This money today. I remember the apostles made mention of, which I could believe too. They said that basically the same paper that the money is printed on is the same paper that the your birth certificate printed on, and that makes sense when you feel the texture of it, especially these new birth certificates. Because then when you really understand, once you were born and you can't leave the hospital for real until the mother signs off on that paperwork so you can get a birth certificate. She's signing you over to the state. This is a very wicked ass place. When you really understand the dynamics and the depths of it. So basically what makes this money worth something is because we believe in it. So therefore, there's no belief in it anymore. That's why a lot of countries is literally going and bypassing it. And that's why you got inflation kicking in right now. Because they printed more dollars than, you know what I mean? You know, like it's more dollars in circulation than it is goods, and you know what I mean, and that's why certain goods is becoming more expensive, on top of the fact that you got a supply chain shortage, so it's less goods, period. So, and you have had a multitude of economists already say that this year inflation is going to kick in even higher. Like I watched, like I said, it was a bag of fish I used to buy from Aldi's that costed $7.95. Within this short amount of time, 6 months, this shit up to like $12. According to Kiyosaki, there are a number of ways to store wealth that are independent of any central bank and can help to mitigate the impact of any impending economic crash. Those are primarily buying gold and silver, he said, adding that investing in real estate and crypto are also the right things to do. Which, at the end of the day, the scriptures tell you that they're going to cast their gold and silver in the streets. So, there's nothing wrong with having gold and silver, but at the same time, it's not going to save you. Bear with me for a second. So, and then as far as real estate, people don't even know anything about Agenda 2030 and all this other shit. Like they planned on actually taking you off your private property. Why do you think that you might own the home but you still pay taxes? If you paying taxes, you don't own it then. Don't you get that? Um, and crypto are also the right things to do. Crypto, it tells you in the scriptures, use the word but don't abuse it. So I'm not knocking any brother that invests in Wall Street, in the stock market or crypto. The thing is this, it's going to be a point in time they're pushing everything to go to crypto. So I wouldn't suggest you trying to think you're about to make $1 million off of it. Now the Lord blesses how you can bless. It tells you in the scriptures that the Most High God is nothing for the Most High God to make a poor man rich. But if you put in your trust, that's with anything. You got to understand, King David was a warrior. He killed men. So for you to think that, like, because this devil told you, oh, thou shalt not kill, that's not true. It's thou shalt not murder. And there's a difference between killing and murder. How the Lord going to tell the Israelites to basically go kill every man, woman, and child in that land, but then turn around and tell you not to kill? But murder is something totally different. Murder is when two people plot behind, you know what I mean? Like, right. A man and a woman committing adultery, and they say, we're going to kill this husband of yours to get he got a big ass life insurance policy. That's what the Lord don't want you doing. The plotting and plan. Murder is when you plotting, planning, and scheming. That's why scriptures talk about things done in the dark shall come to light. And that's why this devil is being exposed, because it's not, you think we just woke up with this information? No, that's the spirit of the Lord. You know what I mean? And that's why they so fascinated and can't figure out, how do they know this? Because they don't truly believe, you know what I mean? They don't believe in the Most High God. Esau, Edom, and 2/3 of our people believe in what they can see. They don't believe, and we coming into times you ain't gonna be able to see no food. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you think these people are building bunkers? They brag about how retarded and crazy Kanye West is, but this retarded, crazy ass nigga still got enough sense to get a bunker, which ain't gonna save him. But nonetheless, he knows something your ass don't he? So I'm not even about to read any more of this article. Oh, I will read this. He said, according to Kiyosaki, there are no, I read all that. Governments now have to keep printing or we crash. That's the point. Those are primarily buying gold and silver, he said, adding that investing in real estate and crypto are also the right things to do. Governments now have to keep printing or we crash, said the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad. Which, yeah, but they got to keep printing. But at the end of the day, the continuing printing of the money is going to fuck up the money as well. Look at the Weimar Republic in Germany with Hitler, before Hitler actually became into power. Basically they was running around. They had printed just like in Mexico. Why do you think the peso? Why do you think you got to have 500 pesos to buy like the littlest thing? This is not the first country to try and print a whole bunch of money to, like, when you actually go into history and look at the Rome, ancient Rome, that's why ancient Rome fell, because of inflation. Their currency was the denarius, and what they was doing, because they had to pay their army, because they had such a huge army, was they was basically diluting the silver. They was shaving off, you know what I mean? Like they was diluting it, mixing other metals with it, all kind of shit. Until eventually the inflation kicked in to the point where everything failed. And if you ever study history, because that's why you got people so fascinated with history, because history does repeat itself. That's in the scriptures. There's no new thing under the sun in the book of Ecclesiastes. That's pretty much the point. If you would like to read this article, it's on RT. So I got two final scriptures because I'm gonna go back in that second Ezra's, but this is the book of Habakkuk. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2. And the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. So the vision is these prophecies, when you go into signs and tokens. The scriptures talk about tokens being signs, and the signs being these prophecies. Because the scriptures talk about it would be signs in the head, you know what I mean? Well, not the signs in the, it would be occurrences in the heavens, but these different tokens is things that was written about in the scriptures. That's why the scriptures talk about the things that was written before time are written for our learning. The scriptures are a book of prophecies. It's an actual history of a group of people. Is a book of prophecies and their laws, statutes, and their commandments. Because basically the covenant was basically given to Israel. So the only people that can actually sin is the Israelites. When you go into sin, it says in the book of John, or I think it's First John, it talks about sin is transgression of the law. So when you transgress, you meaning you broke or go against. You know what I mean? So only people was given the law was the Israelites. So those are the only ones that could truly sin. For the vision is yet for a appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. So the vision, these prophecies, is for a appointed time, because everything, it tells you that the Most High God is long suffering. He got everything mapped out the way it's going to be. But at the end it shall speak. But it's going to come to pass. And not lie, though it tarry. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And then it's going into Esau. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, because he's the proudest. creature on the planet. He's the, you know what I mean? That's why he exalts himself as the eagle. You know, he was a base man. This man was living like a caveman. You know, it's funny because remember the Geico commercials, they had the caveman shit, and brothers used to make mention of that, and then Geico went away from that caveman image, and now you got a gecko. Remember that though? Geico used to have some cavemen. And it tells you that in the scriptures. They braid like donkeys, making guttural sounds and shit. Yea, also because he transgressed by wine. So I told you transgression is the breaking or bypassing or disregarding of of something. So he transgressed the actual laws of the scriptures by his philosophy. Because when you go into that word wine, it usually breaks down. You know, it talks about it got. I think in the book of Revelation, it talks about how he made the nations drunk off of his philosophies. He pushes homosexuality in different countries. He pushes a woman is equal to a man, which I mean, I might come across as sexist, but I mean, truth can offend. The scriptures talk about when Paul made the statement, have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? You know, the truth is not always pleasant, but it ain't supposed to be. It's the truth. What the fuck? You know, but also the scriptures it talks about don't tell us right things, tell us smooth things. Most of our people and these two-third dumbass, these goofy ass Americans, the heathenistic, these just Babylonians, they rather be lied to. They don't want to know that, damn, it's some shit on the horizon. You prepare, get right with the Most High God. They rather hear that Esau Edom is going to get this shit fixed. And, you rather have your oppressor just continue to tell you how to live, and you know what I mean, which is retarded. You know what I mean? It tells you, cursed is the man that trusteth in man in the scriptures. And in that same chapter, it tells you that literally, blessed is the man that trusts in the Most High God. You know, the only thing that's going to save you out of the coming times is Most High God, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because he's the one that's bringing it. Esau Edom don't even know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, for real. Esau Edom, this shit that's happening on the planet right now, Esau Edom don't know what to do. And you going to trust in this motherfucker? It says, he transgressed by wine. He is a proud man, neither keep him at home. He's in everybody else's country. That's why he's over there right now. That's the spirit that he's over there in Ukraine. Russia and Ukraine are on each other's borders. Why the fuck is America over there? Talking about sending more people, sending roughly 10,000 soldiers over there. It says, who enlarge of his desires hell, because he's unsatiable. He can't be sated with his desires. He's a carnal man. So that's why he's going to heap on more and more. He want to just conquer everything. And to a degree he has, you know what I mean? Like, when you take the time to think about it, America has more embassies in other countries than any other country. Who enlarge of his desire as hell and as his death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all thee take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. When you go to that word clay, I forgot what Hebrew word it is, but it basically goes into debt. So this financial system, this fiat currency, is a debt-based system. When you go into how the banks operate, you put your money, when you could, a bank's supposed to loan you money, but then you gotta go through all these hoops and fit all this criteria to actually be eligible to actually receive the loan. But you may take paper money again that the bank doesn't naturally actually have, because they're using money from their different people that account holders. And then basically you're expected to pay back that money with interest. Well, say for instance, you can't pay back that money. You 9 times out of 10 to fit the criteria to be eligible for a loan, you got to show you have some kind of collateral. So you may own your house or your car. You may have to put that up as collateral. So, okay, say you took out $20,000, but you can't pay back the $20,000, but your car was worth $25,000, or your home is worth $50,000. Now They own part of your home. They own, so they took something that was physical off some, because when you go into how the banking system works, everything is just notes on the, these are numbers on, on a computer screen. Because they constantly transferring money. I mean, the only big day that they have a lot of cash on hand is usually during payday. Because people come in and cash their checks. Which that's probably depleting as well, because you got to take the time to think. That's why right now a lot of these banks is offering them incentives. If you open up an account and keep the account open for a certain amount of days, I think it's like 90 days, they'll give you $250, because a lot of people, it's a lot of stuff going on. So basically, that's part of a prophecy, because, like I say, at the end of the day, this guy Robert Kiyosaki is speaking on, economic crash based on the fact of all this money printing, and then the scriptures in the book of Habakkuk spoke on that. So, Salaki, I'm gonna go back into this Second Ezra chapter 9 and end the lesson. So this is Second Ezra chapter 9, starting at verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, which you have been seeing. I did a video about, it was like 90 earthquakes that happened off the coast of the west coast near Oregon, which they say is not abnormal, but it is abnormal. You got to understand, they do a lot of fracking. The tectonic plates, each, like, how America's built is built in a certain way where you got certain parts of the land mass, it might be certain states that's all connected, and they're all sitting on tectonic plates. And basically, the oil that they pull from the ground literally is what keeps those tectonic plates actually lubricated. That's why you be having sinkholes and all kind of shit, because they doing all this fracking in the earth. So yeah, earthquakes is not abnormal, but 90 in a day is. You know what I mean? And uproars is these protests. You got these people. You literally living in a time where you seeing uproars and protests pretty much all around the world. That's a prophecy that's being fulfilled today. Verse 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Again, book of Romans, I think it's chapter 15, talks about the things that were written before time are written for our learning. Verse 5, for like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, meaning beginning to appear when you go into the word manifest. And the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 7 says it is better, the ending of a thing is better than the beginning of a thing, roughly paraphrased. We praying for the ending of this wicked demonic ass place, because the kingdom of heaven is going to be built in righteousness. And this is by far the most wicked empire ever created. So if you a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, you're more than likely an Israelite. And you need to come back to the law, statutes, commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to called Loyim, La Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Rachak. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone who do rule well, and peace and salutation to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, and subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom. Wath lababwal. Shalom.